Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of HCTalk. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley. Our guest on the program today is Samantha Schaefer, but we'll call you Sam because we know you, who is the KCH, or Kansas Christian Home Communications Director. How are you doing today, Sam?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Well, for anybody that's watched the program before knows that Sam's already been out here on the program once when she was new with KCH. She gave us kind of a digital autobiography and let us know where she came from, and you can go back and watch that if you so desire. But it gives you a pretty good take on just who Sam is. So we appreciate you here still, working really hard for KCH and being a person that's just very visible in the community. I must say, after we had our interview, I see you in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different places. Not to monologue too much, but you're involved with the Newton Area Chamber of Commerce. I see you there. Any kind of event that KCH has, you are doing a rock star job to get it out there for people to see. And of course, I'm partial to it, right? To see, well, what are these people doing and how they're doing it? And I'll say you do a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
But, you know, we talked a little bit briefly. There's some things that are getting ready to happen out at KCH. I know there's a ribbon cutting coming up, so that's something new. Not all ribbon cuttings have to be, you know, a groundbreaking first time thing. If there's an addition or something like that, you can do that. But you also have some events that are coming up. So it was just nice to talk with you about that. We discussed it. So let's have you back out on the program again. That way we can just be able to tell the public what you guys got going on and be able to hopefully generate some interest in that and get you a good turnout there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again. And yeah, it's been about a year, I think. It doesn't feel like it's been a full year, but it's been a full year since we were on. And so I'm happy to share the latest and the greatest. And yeah, however the conversation takes us.
Yeah, very cool. So, okay, I got to know, I don't know if I just previously mentioned it, but I had doing a Newton Area Chamber of Commerce update. One of the things that they brought up was that you all will be having a ribbon cutting this coming Saturday, I believe, correct?
It is this coming Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Okay, so my apologies. I'm already wrong.
You can show up on Saturday, but nobody's going to be there.
Like, hey, wait, I came for a ribbon cutting, but there's no ribbon cutting. I was lied to. It's like, no, Lance, dang it, you know?
Nope, it's on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And yeah, we hope that we see a lot of familiar faces and maybe some new faces. We're having our ribbon cutting and open house for a new area of our campus. It's an existing building, but we have repurposed it. It's a continuation of how we have turned the silver lining of COVID and turned that corner and pivoted a certain part of our building. And so it's now the Garden Path Community Center. It's open to all of our resident families. We are using the space right now for different events and figuring out how to best use the space. But we've already had a few families book the venue for baby shower, birthday parties, things like that. And so it will be open to the greater Newton area community for when you're looking for a smaller, affordable venue that has a home kind of feel and a full kitchen and things like that.
Okay, so give me kind of a mental picture of what, like, you know, it's a garden center, right? So what's kind of the feel of that? You mentioned the feel, but I'm in my mind's eye, I'm thinking flowers, plants, horticultural kind of theme. What can I expect in my imagination when I'm thinking this through about what it might look like?
Right. Or what to expect? Yeah. When you first drive onto our campus, it's going to be front and center. When you first come on, there's some dedicated parking, which is huge. That's a big thing when people are having an event. You don't want to have to check into the healthcare center. You don't want it to feel like a medical background, a medical venue. And so it has its own private entrance with a nice large patio. It is in its infancy stage, so we do have some more mature trees around there, but we're going to grow this into more of a green space in that patio area. And then when you come inside, you'll see a full-size industrial kitchen. So if folks want to have a club meeting where they're baking goods, or family just wants to make a mess in our kitchen and not have to clean up their own kitchen, they can rent out that space. And then a living room and kind of a dining area. a couple of restrooms. There's even a shower in there if your baking gets really out of hand, I guess. And so it will have some aspect of that garden feel. The name Garden Path came from its founders, the first initial people who found KCH to be a place worth investing in. And they named it, and we're just kind of running with it from there.
Okay, very cool. And I like that. I always like to do family stuff for birthdays or holidays or whatnot. I have an older house, but there's a lot of square footage, and by the time you get everybody in there, it's just not enough space, So when you're talking about family get-togethers, birthday parties, or events that they want to have the whole family, or you want to bring 20 or 30 people, sometimes homes just don't accommodate that. But the larger venues are too big,
right?
So having a space where you can rent that out is something that I think is a much needed thing in our community.
Well, that's kind of what we were thinking as well, how we can best use our space as a third space for our own community. Tested it out, saying, do we have a proof of something that's needed in the greater Newton community, and how can we serve in that capacity? And so, our space can comfortably fit about 40, maybe 50 people. It's fire marshal says up to 60. I wouldn't recommend 60. It gets a little tight unless you have some little kids or something like that. Yeah. But you do have a big overflow opportunity in the patio area, which is nice. Yeah. So if you wanted to go out there and grill or something like that, and if you wanted us to do the cleanup, we're happy to do that. There is a fee that comes with that because we have to pay our team members a fair wage. Right. But you don't have to worry about that necessarily. So food is a great asset as well. You mentioned some other venues. They do great at what they do. Here at KCH, we have also used other facilities, but you have to use their team, their food. You can bring in your food and have what suits your needs. And so it's a flexible space, and we're happy to be able to provide that to the community.
So if Chef Lance wants to cook something for his whole family, then I can come in there and utilize that space.
Yeah.
There's no necessarily requirement except for that you rent the space to do so.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so I just got to say, and I might have said this when we were talking before, but I have a personal relationship with KCH. My wife's grandfather, they chose KCH for him when he had to do transitional living, and then obviously just kind of rolled into KCH being the full care of him until he left us. And throughout that entire process, I would say that I was very welcomed by the staff. I was appreciated the way I watched the staff take care of him. They were on point. 100% of the time. I used to live by there, so we would go and take our kids on bicycles. So I have this personal, relationship with KCH, and you all have a beautiful campus there.
Oh, thank you.
You really do, and it has been that way and been maintained very well for, as long as I can remember, right?
Yep.
So it's you mentioned it being a green space. You mentioned it being a place where people can come. It's a very welcoming community.
We
regardless.
like to think so. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and I hope some of our team members were listening and watched this back. Guys, I can tell them and relay them that message, but they might be thinking, "Oh, that's just Sam, fluffing our feathers,"
No,
but
that's the truth.
I hear that in the community, and I'm excited to share that with our team. You mentioned our maintenance team, our environmental services team. We have a lot of tenure on our team there, so I know that there are several people in the greater Newton community who know a lot of our team members who have been with KCH for decades, 30 years, 40 years in our maintenance team and environmental services teams. So there's a great sense of ownership and pride within our team that we're in this together. And we're happy that the greater community is finding some solace and trust us in that way too, that it's not only a place to be cared for, but that we take care of our surrounding area as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to tell anybody, hey, do what Lance did. And if you need a safe place for your kids to ride a bike or to walk in a nice area. I know a lot of the residents there really appreciated that we were there. Right, they eventually figured out, well, these people are here regularly, and would wave and make sure and be at the door, and it was just, I don't know how to explain it except for that the energy was always very positive.
Yep, and we have some young dog walkers. I wouldn't venture to say high school. I would say these kids that I'm picturing in my head, they're about late elementary school, early middle school. They come and walk dogs for some of our residents, and you'll see people pushing strollers, and it is just a nice, calming walk, getting outside, and a nice opportunity to mingle intergenerationally, which is so important, and studies are showing that enriches everyone's life, not just the senior in your life, but also the youngsters too.
And so there's you guys also have some things that are coming up in the near future, but it's not ribbon cutting. So what's kind of your upcoming events that you're wanting to let people know about, and well enough in advance that you can generate some interest in it?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for asking. One that first comes to mind is, I wasn't planning on talking about it today, but it's just top of mind, is we're having a senior prom. And so our seniors, we're coming up with our theme right now, and it hopefully will become an intergenerational event with some of the Newton area high school students helping set up for our sock hop prom for our seniors. That's just fun if you want to learn more about it, or contribute financially to help us put on this prom for our residents. But the other one is the 3rd annual Senior Resource Fair, and I'm really excited about it. This year it's on May 1st, and it is our venue for that is at the Newton Rec Center. We've outgrown our space at KCH to host an event of this size, which is a great problem to have. And we're partnering with the Rec Center to help us have an indoor option that will hold a lot more people. And I had to turn away people last year, unfortunately, when it came to vendor space and folks who were providing the resources for the seniors. And so we'll be able to accommodate a lot more opportunity for people to get the resources that they need as they're entering those stages of life, or they're a caregiver of somebody. They want to have that education at their fingertips.
I believe that I attended that last year.
Yes, you did.
I was going to say, and I had planned on just coming and walking to see what was offered.
Oh, you stayed. You stayed.
Well, I got hung up. I say hung up, but I was there for, well, I don't know. I want to say maybe a couple hours by the time it was all said and done, because, I started seeing people that I knew. Some I hadn't seen in years. Some knew my folks, or whatever, and just wanted to touch base. And of course, I had this long story to tell them about my life or whatever, So it was very nice to, touch base with those people, but as well to see what you were doing, what the vision behind what you were doing is just a kind of a one-stop for individuals, like you said, who are just wanting to see what kind of resources are available. I mean, as my parents grow older, they'd kill me if I mentioned them as being in some kind of need in that way, but as they grow older, it's important for me to know, where are these resources at that I can help put my parents, in touch with them, or anybody that I come across that might be asking questions about what kind of resources are there. Because a lot of times people just don't know that there are the resources that are available to them for lack of, I don't know if it's lack of trying, or maybe just nobody doing kind of what you were doing or having the vision that you've created for KCH.
Yeah, it's really daunting whenever you are trying to gather information in a stressful situation. And a lot of times when I get calls from folks, it's because they are sitting in the hospital and don't know who to call. Or I've had somebody who's walked into KCH and they told me to talk to Sam and she would figure it out. I'm like, well, okay. I love that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But how can we have that one-stop shop in a low stress, no commitment, no obligation kind of situation where you can just gather the resources, talk to people, have a phone number to call in the future, and not have to make 100 phone calls to get the answer you're looking for. You just spend a couple hours, maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. However long it takes to get through the little circle of vendors or partners, as I'm calling them, to get the information you don't know you need until you need it.
Yeah. And I'll say this, when I was there, the most, and not to put you on the spot, but the most intriguing thing to me, just in my life where I'm at right now, was there was a person that was there and they were an author. And I cannot think of the business's name off the top of my head. Maybe you can, so I'm not putting you too much on the spot. But what they did is they went through and they would meet with your loved one, like in my case, my folks, right? And then they would just basically document their life, do a short story or a short book about who they are, where they came from, and things that just really work with that individual on what story do you want to tell your future generation to have. And I just thought, man, that's such a profound thing. If I could get people out here on the podcast to do just a digital audio biography of them and their life and stuff, that's interesting to me. So maybe it was just an affinity that I had because of what I like to
storytelling.
See. But I mean, that's are they still going to be there?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if she'll be there, if it aligns with her schedule. But you bring up a good point, Lance, which is it isn't just about the emergency home health, nursing home, physical therapy. It's not only that. We do want to provide those resources. I mean, with baby boomers, I think it's 4 million a day are turning age 65. We need to be prepared to serve them, and they need to be prepared to advocate for themselves. Also, so if we just put that aside for a second, there are some fun things to help keep people engaged, active, and her Premier Legacy company. Yes, she does these, exactly what it is. It's a legacy story. Some of them are short. She'll do a full several chapter book, and I love her idea. It's amazing. She does several interviews because you're not going to get all of the dirty stories in one sitting. You got to break it up. I hope that she'll be there. But that's a great thing to bring up. So I appreciate you saying that, because it is some really fun and unique businesses that are serving the community like that.
Yeah, and we discussed this the last time, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that before you endeavored to do this, there really wasn't a venue to be bringing everybody together in this way for a one-stop shop for these resources, was there?
Well, I've gone to, the Wichita area, El Dorado area, Butler County, and at least in my tenure here, post-COVID, I know that there hasn't been one in Harvey County. I've heard murmurings of, I think we used to do something like that, and there wasn't really a full story around that I could find. And so we'll see where this takes us. I just knew, Harvey County, we're kind of cool too, so we should have something like that. And we are quite saturated with the amount of resources that are available right here. If folks can stay here, that's great. Okay, if they need to go somewhere else, if they're moving closer to family, fine. Well, I guess we'll let them do that. But there are a lot of rich resources here in Harvey County for organizations that serve the senior community. So even though KCH, we're kind of spearheading this, we're linking arms with our other cohorts out in town to say, come with us, because the tide raises all the boats, and we all serve various communities. And it's a lot of times it's based on culture or who they know. So KCH isn't the right fit for everybody, and we're aware of that, just like all of our other cohorts aren't the right fit. And so it's nice for me, if I can be an advocate for at least finding something and finding the resources, then I'm happy to do that. Yeah,
and I will say, too, that, Harvey County, specifically Newton, just the size, the close proximity to amenities, the necessities that an aging population needs. And we fit that real well. I mean, when we talk about, we've got things in our community for young people. We've got things that we're really trying to build for people our age. And then when you get into an aging population, there's a huge benefit to being here within our community, because everything is a 5-minute drive away.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a lot less there's a lot of benefits to that, and just knowing. So another question: do you feel like, since you've endeavored to do this, that it helps prevent a lot of duplication of services?
Oh, well, I can only speak for what I see, but I try my best to make sure that people aren't overdoing their services. For example, if I can just be as frank as possible, let's say it's insurance. They're going to make money.
Yeah.
And if there are different alternatives to a home health service or a concierge service or something like that to provide puzzle piece it together, then I try to at least give them the resources to make an educated decision. I think I bring it back to the making decisions under stress. Historically, humans were not the best at that,
right?
About making good decisions under a lot of stress. And so, yes, if we can just slow down and make sure we're not duplicating things, overpaying for things, then that's ideal. Then you have more money to, do what you want.
Live your best life.
That's right. That's right.
Especially when as you grow older, you don't want to be in a situation where you aren't able to live your best life because you're worried about all these other things and maybe, like you said, paying more for what you should for something and then have less money to go something else.
That's right.
Okay, so we've discussed some things that KCH is got going on in the near future, but like on a year type of a thing, are you all continuing what you've done the previous year with things, or what can people give me some high points of things that you all are doing for the community or with your community that people can look forward to in the coming year?
Right. So we're always coming up with new and exciting things like the senior prom. That's a new one for us. But on the Choose Newton calendar, they've reached out to us and they've been good partners with us in marking some things that they've noticed that we've done every year. And so on the Choose Newton calendar, to start there, we have our senior fair. It's coming up May 1st. Our Independence Day celebration, we have ours on the 3rd, suiting more the south, south of 12th Street, Newton community. We're kind of a fun place to be, intergenerational as well. The whole neighborhood comes out for that. And I know that there's another organization that has theirs on the 4th. So if you want to hit both places, that's always fun.
So 2 fireworks shows.
That's right. And you don't have to pay for it. At least for ours, you just show up.
Yeah.
And then later on in the year, we always have a larger donor appreciation event, like a lot of places do. We're always thinking about different ways we can show our mission in action. And so what we did last year was we had a bus tour through our campus. They got a full tour, got to talk to residents, and they really were immersed in how our residents live. And I also didn't tell people, all right, y'all, you better act right because we have company.
Right.
That's just how it is. Like you mentioned, you just come and you stay a while. Yeah. So that was really fun. And we have our Halloween event, which is last year it rained, but we made it work. We had a lot of people in our building. And again, intergenerational activities are always kind of our bread and butter at KCH. It just breathes life into everything that we do. And it's great for our team members, helping it be a place that they enjoy working and spending 40 hours, 50 hours a week. Yeah.
And since you've came, I've watched how you've improved upon what was already existing with KCH from before, right? How some of the operational aspect of I'm assuming in your wheelhouse, just the communication, social media presence, kind of what your desire to show the rest of the community what you guys are about, and I think you've done I said this at the beginning, but an exceptional job.
Thank you.
So from a year ago in our interview, right? Not to have you recall what we talked about or anything. You can back watch it, like I said. But from a year ago to today, what do you think now is one of the best things about being at KCH, doing what you do?
Man, that's a loaded question. In my gut, first thing off the top of the head that comes up for me, I feel like I have the best job at KCH. I get to storytell and really bring what happens on our campus to the world. For sure, throughout the United States, we've had several people this year move from California, Florida, Texas to Newton, and they get a little glimpse of that from a distance. I didn't even mention Pie in the Face Day. That's one of my personal favorites. Right. Pie in the Face Day is always good, where the residents get to pie team members in the face. That's a must see on our social media. But yeah, that's the best part of my job, honestly, is just being a fly on the wall. I'm not actually in a lot of our social media. I'm always behind the camera. And so it's really through my selfish lens, I get to see it every day, and that's the best part of my job. That's the part that doesn't feel like work. I mean, I love a good spreadsheet, don't get me wrong, but
gotta love the data.
Gotta love the data. But that's the best part, seeing the unposed, just candid photos and videos of residents and team members and the community that comes in. That's just the best. It's chef's kiss.
Well, it's once again, I'll mention that it has grown and evolved. So, which leads me to my next question for you. What do you hope the future of KCH looks like, Sam?
Well, that's a deep question. That's a really deep question. I am really looking forward to the opportunity to serve those folks, those 4 million folks who are turning 65 and older, seeing that our campus is a very vibrant place to live. You don't have to be 80, 90 to move to our campus. I think that's part of a rebranding of the industry as a whole that we are looking to grow into. We have beautiful homes on our campus, and we'd love to see some of those folks. We are seeing some of those folks now who are younger moving to our campus because they don't want to do yard work anymore. They don't want to do all the maintenance. They don't want to do all that. They want to have a full-time or part-time living situation on our campus, and like you said, spend their money to live the life that they want. And so I really enjoyed getting to learn more about this incoming generation. And my parents would never admit that they are in that age range, but I would love to see that. Typically, also, those folks have younger families, so their grandkids are elementary school, middle school, and it just makes our campus just that much more robust, that it's not a secluded, gated off senior living community or a retirement community or a nursing home. We try to stay away from that word because it is so much different now. And so we just continue to evolve. That's my hope, is continuing to evolve, not getting too stuck in our ways. And I joke with people that KCH is ran by a whole bunch of caffeinated millennials.
Yeah.
We're all like 27 to like 45, and so we're not too rigid in the way that we get to our goals. Maybe it is pie in the face day. It gives us some giggles. It takes 15 minutes. We're going to do it. If the residents want to do it, that evolution is really important to us. Also, side note, Lance, is I'm starting to see some folks who have full tattoos, multiple piercings, men with ponytails, all sorts of folks. I'm like, oh, okay, we're shifting what that typical, elder or senior looks like. So I invite people to come to our campus and see what it's like, and stay a while like you did.
Well, and I'll tell you, I feel what you're saying as far as it is changing.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, I go turn on the oldies station and it's playing music.
Oh, I know.
When I was a kid,
I know.
It's like, dang. So there must be like an age. Like when I was looking back, man, that's I'm getting older now.
It's Throwback Thursday on the radio. I'm like, oh no, don't hurt my feelings today.
Like, how old am I?
Yes.
Exactly. No, yes. But and then I do agree. I concur. I'll say that just the way we view independent living, transitional living, and then what we would consider being a resident of a facility such as KCH or any of the other facilities that individuals here in Newton or abroad can go and transition into. Sometimes the question, I'll say is, I think it's becoming more aware of people to live their best life, that's a good, viable option to live their best life. I mean, if it comes to a point when you're not able to live your best life, but you're completely independent, the argument could be made, is that really your best life if you spend the majority of your time existing so you can exist completely independent of anything else versus being part of a community,
Right.
That's there to serve you and provide as much opportunity for you to continue to, once again, we'll say it. I mean, surely KCH's motto is not KCH, live your best life.
It's close.
What is it? Okay, what is it? You told me in the past, but what is it?
It's live your life on your terms.
Oh, nice.
It's close.
Classic.
It's
okay,
close.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else you got for me, Sam? If you don't got anything else, then I'll give you the last word, but what do you got?
Yeah. No, it's just my pleasure to be here. It's been a short year, but we've accomplished a lot. And yeah, I'll see you in a year. Hopefully, hopefully I'll see you at the ribbon cutting.
Yep. I'll try.
Yeah, try to come to the ribbon cutting. If not, you can follow us on Facebook and all of the interwebs and such. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be in this industry because you're really in a position to serve, and it's really from the heart, at least the way that we do it at KCH.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, Sam, I'm going to take that as your last word.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I just want to tell everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of HCTalk. As always, I was Lance Gormley, and a special thanks to you, Sam, for reaching out and talking with me and utilizing this platform as just another way to be able to get out information to the public. I really do value what you do, and I think you're a huge asset to our community, to KCH, and to those you serve.
Thanks so much.
Have a good week, everybody.